Oh, I remember that.
Oh, boy.
We need some Photoshop on that.
Yes, we do. Sort of says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was, when was that? That was way back at First Street?
Just when we
Just when
first
we
left,
first got there.
first
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
Newport.
yeah.
Yeah.
Over at the ice cream place. So
You're
friendship.
lucky I
huh?
didn't put a current one.
Oh
up
my
there.
God! I said to
But I
Judy,
really needed
I said
Photoshop.
those ones that Chris, you did some good pictures, but boy, yeah, there was one of us on that one. We both had those crazy hats on, and we had well, anyway, I said I'll kill you if you put that one up there. You didn't think
I didn't.
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't.
you saw it too.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay, so friendship. You want to start?
No, you go ahead.
What I want to do is just say a little bit about, I was reading this book, and it talked about how important, I knew friendship's important, everybody knows that these connections with each other are huge, but I read this, the frequency of human interaction affects our health outcomes. Low social interaction can be compared, okay? These are studies, I love studies, to 15 cigarettes a day, being a practicing alcoholic, or not exercising. So if you don't have a lot of friends in your life, those things are higher, you have a higher risk. Huge. It's being disconnected is very dangerous for our health. So that's why spiritual communities, people come together so that they can get connected. Sometimes it's a risk, it's hard. It's really hard. We're going to maybe talk about that a little bit today. But they even say that friendships have a bigger social impact on our life than family relationships, which I don't know about that, but boy. And there's a term that I love because it kind of speaks to you and me, and it's called frientimacy. Frientimacy, right? And it's the state and expression of being close and familiar and affectionate in a non-romantic relationship. So this lady coined it. And I love that, because when we were first started this, remember when people were coming, and we had one guy came one time and he said, "Oh, I came because I thought you guys were gay." And I say that because it's interesting. Not that would be a bad thing or anything. But people say that every time that girls are really good friends, for some reason, it's like, oh, it's because they're gay. And I think that's interesting. We have a lot of gay friends, and we have gay people that aren't gay friends. But it's interesting that becomes a topic of conversation. He's no longer here. But anyway, interesting. So, frenemasy, I like that.
Frenemasy, yeah. So I think that one of the things that we want to talk about today is we'll share whatever we can and whatever comes up. We don't have an agenda really. We have a few ideas, but we have no idea what's going to happen. But really, it's important for us as spiritual community because we hope to demonstrate what a healthy friendship and relationship looks like, and through that it helps benefit everybody. Often when people come to Common Ground, like performers or guest speakers or whatever, they're always very surprised to see two women on a platform that are not competing with each other, that are not trying to one-up each other, that demonstrate a genuine love and care for one another in the way that we do. And so I think that spiritual community is a place where we learn these skills, where we learn how to be with each other in this way. And so that's one of the things that we hope that we can share here today, because it's very important. And spiritual community is a place in the Buddhist tradition. Sangha community is where we grow ourselves. We just can't do it sitting in a cave by ourselves. We need each other. And when we find another soul that we resonate with at a deep level, whether it's a partner or a spouse or a friend, that connection is the thing that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. What? Is it me?
Well, so I think one of the things that one of the things that we'd like to share today is through the years that we've been friends for probably 20 years now.
Yeah, close to
over 20 years. And one of the things that we get questions all the time about how do you sustain a friendship like yours for that length of time. And so we're going to answer some of the questions that we've heard over the years. And I think part of it is that through grace we have a lot of similarities.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's what at least it connected me. When I first met you, I saw a lot of you in me, and I saw a lot of things that I would like to emulate that you had too, you know. So what are those? Let's kind of talk about that. What do you think that our similarities and our differences are? Because we're way different people too.
Yeah,
you know?
we're very different. I'm sure you kind of have picked that up. You see that difference, but it's very compatible difference, and it's almost like two puzzle pieces fit together that complete each other in a way. Because I've got a certain, I suppose I've got a calm sort of.
Are you saying I'm not calm?
Stiff. No, I've got a calm, stiff.
Yeah.
Stiff.
No, you're not stiff.
Sort of person, but you don't. You've got that balance that helps me step out of that in my
Well,
own.
I think we're good together in this kind of thing because, you know, I kind of mouthy a little bit, you know, and a little bit more extroverted sometimes, and I can spontaneously say, you know, sometimes something that Judy can't say. And
Or wouldn't.
That's probably more true, you know. But she has better filters sometimes, you know. It's like she responds, and sometimes I react, you know. And so it's interesting, you know, how it's kind of, you know, the differences. I see, you know, that we're, you know, different. We're the same because I know that you're crazy like me as far as your family goes. You're over codependent, and me too, actually. And so we both talk about that and we work on that. And that's kind of something that's really been similar to us. And our passion for ministry hasn't been the same, you know.
Right.
But just the way we show up, I think sometimes that we're the same inside, but we show up so differently, and it works because, you know, you wouldn't want two of me up here.
Or two of me.
You know, but I mean, the truth is we need each other for this balance, so, and it works out really well.
You know, I like it that you mentioned that we have a different passion for ministry, because really I didn't know I had a passion at all until you awakened that in me. When we first started on this journey, I just sort of went along for the ride to years and years and years ago, because I knew you had this deep passion.
I never believed that either.
For ministry.
You always said that.
I know, but it's true. And I just kind of went along and traveled back and forth to Missouri, which was not that much fun. But we got to be wonderful soul friends during this time. I think that was the entire purpose.
Yeah.
And at a certain point in this experience, really we were complete with all of that. I became very disillusioned with the spiritual community that we were in at the time and stepped away.
Yeah.
I completely stepped away. I said, I am done. This is not for me. I'm not going to be part of this anymore. It's not a fit. And I was just done.
Are you talking about when you came back? Then you came back.
And then I came back only because you asked me to.
Yeah, you know, because we weren't finished yet. We had not even finished our license, right? We hadn't even been licensed at that point.
Yeah.
And you only had like a month or two to go, and we gone through all this stuff, and it's like, well, are you crazy?
Like
you know?
5 years of
We're
stuff.
going to go through all this training, and just because you were upset, you know, but that was not it. Just because you were upset, there were some deep issues. So she came back, and then we did. You know, we thought we'd start fresh here and see if we can move through these, you know, issues that we had. Actually, you know, I mean, without revealing a whole lot, you know, and stuff, it was a very difficult time for us. And we did finish our ministerial training and were ordained. And then we were planning on staying there at Unity, actually. That was not our plan to start our own thing. And it never was. And this was kind of formed organically. And only because, you know, I have to say, when we talk about, we have a real question on here, something like what was our success and what were some of the things that weren't so successful. And I think that was one of our biggest successes, is that we took a risk. Because I'll tell you, it was the biggest risk of our life, is to, you know, drop everything and do this. So
I remember I stepped away for some significant reasons and then came back. And then one evening we were in a board meeting, and all of a sudden Glenda shuts her books, stands up, and walks out of the room. And I'm going, ooh, maybe this is when we get to leave.
I say we leave when we leave.
So I just went, okay, and I followed her out the door, and that really was the turning point for us, when we both had it, and we both decided it's time for us to shift and to go in a new direction. But the thing is, like Glenda said, we had no idea what that direction was. We just knew that we were done with that, and so we left. And at the time, Glenda's husband was dying.
Yeah, he was really sick.
He was dying. He was very sick.
And he wasn't working. He was on disability and had just had, I don't know if he had his transplant by then.
I don't think he had his transplant.
He was really sick anyway. And so I lost my income, because I was actually the executive director at Unity. And that was our income And so, you know, at this board meeting, I just said, we're done. Come on, Judy. and you know, after I did that, I went, oh my God, what did I do? You know, I didn't have any income. I didn't know what to do, you know. So Judy goes, you can move in with me. You know? And I go, I don't know how my husband will go for that, you know. But anyway, it kind of things happen. There's a lot of stuff in between. But then Fred and I ended up moving in with we talked to Dennis, and, you know, this was before her house was filled with animals and kids.
New people.
Yeah, other people. So we moved in, and I think, and actually, you know how you have the best of times, the joys and the sorrows in your life? It was probably one of the whole thing there was a sorrow of him dying, and this, you know, I was losing him, and it just was really hard. But my friendship with Judy was building, and some of the happiest times of my life, I can think of us out there in our pajamas, laughing, watching some TV, eating popcorn and stuff like that. Dennis, he was great, you know, Dennis with us, the three of us. Fred was sick in the bedroom, you know, really sick a lot and stuff. So it's like when we always say 10,000 joys, 10,000 sorrows, we experienced them all in this. How long did I stay there? 2 years?
3 years.
3 years. So I was at her house for 3 years. And you know what? Now just imagine this, you guys. I had no money. They supported us. So it's like never once, well, you're going to pay me back later, or we'll settle up. It wasn't even that. Thank God Fred left me a life insurance policy, a nice one, and I was able to do some nice things, you know, later. But she didn't know that. She didn't know I could do anything. I mean, I've never in my life, and if I had to say, I've never met a more generous, Dennis too, you know, but it wasn't just the money and stuff. I can't even tell you guys, you don't know. It was like there was a time when, you know, I didn't even have food. They fed me. And there was a time, and I laugh now, boy, talk about it, it's such a difference. But like, you know, I would never ask for an outfit or something to wear. But all of a sudden I'd get home and there'd be a new outfit laying on the bed. She knew that I needed something, you know. And I mean, it was amazing. You know, it's like, I think about that now and it's like, who would do that? She has taught me, you know, this generosity of like, and never feeling like I had to be humbled by it. Like, look how good I am. Never. That was never, you know, happened. It was just like, that's what people do. And you've taught me now that money, and if I have it and somebody needs it, I'm not telling you if you give your money, that's not what I'm saying here. But I'm saying that, you know, I can never watch anybody suffer that needs it, you know. And anyway, yeah, so thank you for that. I mean, I know. But anyway, that's huge. That's one of the most huge lessons I think I've learned. And it's weird because people are brought into your life for reasons, and I'm talking too much about it.
I'm enjoying listening too.
Yeah, I know. I get on my. That's our difference. She can sit here and just listen the whole time and go, you know, and I'll talk the whole thing, you know.
Well, you know, since we're talking about that time period in our lives, that was pretty significant, I think, for all of us, because really, it was like you shared your heart, your husband's journey,
yeah,
and we worked together in a way that would have been very difficult if we didn't have a deep friendship and honoring each other and trust, a big deep trust for one another to work through these things, because some of it was extremely difficult,
yeah,
and some of it was kind of traumatic, but at the same time, you know, we went through the whole thing together with Fred, and this is part of the gift. When you have somebody that you trust and that you love, you're able to find the humor in the worst of circumstances, in the most difficult. An example, when we were over on First Street, we thought it was Fred's last day. We were sure he was dying.
Every day was his
last day. Yeah, and so we thought that was it. So I said, "Oh no, you need to stay home and be with Fred, because you know, this is only going to be a one-time situation. I'll go to Common Ground and I'll try to power through," because I was really close to Fred too.
Yeah.
And so I said, "I'll power through this. You stay home with Fred and watch him die, you know, and you be there for him." So I go to Common Ground on First Street on a Saturday night, and I'm like going, "Oh God, poor Glenda, she's home. Fred's dying," and you know, I just had this feeling. And so I got home, and I'm going, "Is that popcorn? Do I smell popcorn? Well, who's having popcorn?" Because Dennis wasn't home. And I went in, and there they are, the two of them sitting up in bed eating popcorn, watching a movie. And I'm going, how could you?
He always did that. He like rallied. He would be dying, and then all of a sudden, here he was. It's like the time, and then he was a jokester. Like that one time, he laid there for a long time, and we thought he was dying. I go, Judy, come here. I think he's dying. Look. And I was looking at him, and I'm going, I love you. Oh my gosh! And he could try to go sneak preview. So, talk about crazy times. It was like, and then, he got out of his head at the end. He was like out of in another world, practically, and he was on medications, and I was taking care of him, and I dropped him. I actually was helping him to bathe him or do something, and he fell, and he goes, hey, tell the help around here they suck. Just
go, Judy, I dropped Fred. Well, okay.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Anyway, so that's the kind of stuff, I think, through all of that, my God, that he probably bonded us more than anything.
I think so. We had quite some adventures. It's like through the difficult things that you find out what it's all about. Some of you know that we engaged. We ran out of money. I ran out of money. My husband's business started to kind of take a dip in the economy, and so I ran out of money. You ran out of money, and we were sitting there at our desk on Newport, and we're going, well, now what are we going to do? Because for many years we supported Common Ground before it could support itself. And so we're going, now what are we going to do? Because we weren't taking any money from Common Ground, and at least we were at a point where we were no longer putting money in.
Yeah.
But we were both in trouble. So we're looking at each other, and Glenda's family's in the bail bond business. And Glenda says, well, she said, I know it's a crazy idea, but we couldn't possibly become bail bonds people, could we? And I said, why not? She goes, really?
Did we tell the congregation or not? Did we just on the slide do this at night?
So we engaged in being bail bonds people for 2 years. We did that, and we were up all night. It was amazing what we did, and we had these incredible experiences. Some of them were terrifying. Some of them were like, I would never do it again.
Oh, yeah, when I think back, if my kid did this, oh my God. We went down to like Compton in the middle of the night to all the jails and stuff. I remember one time we were down at, I don't know where it was, I'm talking about when the helicopters were all over and they were searching for somebody who had just escaped. And we're out there in the dark running to our car. And I'm going, Judy, can you run any faster? And she was like, I said, run girl, run.
And I'm going, I don't run.
And I'm going, you better run, So we jumped in the car and we sped off, and stuff. They were just nuts. So remember the time the sheriff chased us out of there? It was really mean and stuff. Oh my God, yeah,
prisons in the middle of the night. We're sitting there counting like cash, like $10,000 in a big stack of money, and we're looking
like
at
a drug dealer.
I'm going, oh my God, we're in the middle of banning, and this is like so darn scary. We're in a prison.
There's some prison out there. What is that prison? There's something way out in the Tules, and we couldn't even find it. It was like in the middle of the night, and we were supposed to meet a person, and I'm going, I can't even believe we're doing this. And they get into the car, and we're doing money, and I said, can you believe we're ministers? What would our people do? They knew we're sitting out here counting money in the middle of a prison, and stuff, and then, it was a bizarre time, and I'm thinking that we needed to do that at the time, though. It's an odd job, to say the least. But it paid well, and it got us through until we didn't have to do it any longer.
The other piece of it was, for me, was that it was humbling, and it also gave us both an opportunity to really examine and to check each other for our judgments and for how we were with other people. Because when you're involved in something like that, what you come in contact with is pretty broad.
Yeah.
And you don't bail out murderers, but you do bail out some people that have done some pretty icky things.
Well, we get to choose. We a few times we didn't do it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But
we had to suspend judgment because these are people, and these were people that were probably guilty, to tell you the truth, but who knew? Who knew if they were guilty or not? And so our job was to see them with the eyes of soul awareness, so that we didn't judge them and make them bad people, and that was tricky. And we kind of checked. Now, we had a lot of humor. We found some humor in some of these situations, but we really did check each other. and the compassion was there too, and that was an opportunity for us.
Well, I think it was a whole ministry that we needed. I mean, actually, we still have our license, we keep it up, so we needed to do it. Hopefully we don't. But it's the families, you know what I'm saying? The families of these kids that would get, in trouble and stuff, they would come and they would be expected to see some big, burly bail bonds guy, and then we'd walk up and we'd say, I'm Reverend Glenda, I'm Reverend Judy, and they would just cry in our arms. Sometimes these big guys that got out of jail would just fall into our arms. Remember that guy that got out of jail fell into your arms? And just, once he found out you were a minister, and it's like, oh my God, help me. And you're right, it just really, touched our hearts and opened our hearts. So it was a ministry in itself.
One of the things that I think it was helpful is we see the world, we speak the same language, and we see the world very similarly. We're very pretty easygoing.
Mm-hmm.
We never know what's going to happen. We're very open to change. All of these things are spiritual practices that take time and energy to make sure that that we're there with it. This allowing, this going with the flow. In every area of our lives, we've done this from the very beginning, and have fun with it in the process. Laugh. Just take it as it comes. And if something doesn't work well, we just, those of you who have been with us for the past 10 years know how many things we've started.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's my idea, sometimes it's Glenda's idea, sometimes it's our mutual idea. And we say, yes, okay, let's give that a try. Now, we've tried a lot of things that didn't work. And when it's time to say, that didn't work, we just release it, let it go, and move on to the next thing. We don't get stuck in it. There's no blame. There's no guilt. There's no shame. And these are qualities that in a friendship make a lot of difference, because we've had some situations that haven't been so awesome.
Well, and the good thing is too, I think that, see, you and I aren't real planners, and like a lot of people really plan way out in advance. We're going to do this, and these are our visions, and these are our goals. We don't do that, and it drives Stacy. Where are you, Stacy? Nuts, and drive anybody nuts too. I feel for Stacy. Stacy, if we have to talk about any of our biggest success, it would be Stacy, I think too.
Yes.
Stacy, because
Yes.
you're awesome, Stacy. And she puts up with us. Because I can't even imagine, having to work with us. I mean, but if you weren't like us, it's because we are scattered kind of, and I wouldn't say we're scattered, I'm more scattered than you, but it's like we're spontaneous, and it's like somebody tries to plan something. Although that, here's one of our differences, is that we have an idea, right, we're gonna do, and we'll go, okay, we're gonna meet about this idea. We come to the table to meet, and it's all done. She does it, right? So, because that's Judy. She has everything planned out. Now, at first, it was like, when we first got to know each other, that was a little difficult for me, so I have to be honest, there were some, challenges, right? I'm going, geez, we're doing this together, and you got the whole darn thing done. And then I had to work on that. And so I said, okay, do I stifle Judy's creativity? That's the way she is. Do I look at that and say, make her, her, what's the word, like, smaller than she is, because that's who she is. She plans, and everything she does, it's like so good. So even if I said, well, I want to do this, I'd do it, and it would be never as good as Judy does, right? And so, no, I'm just saying.
It would just be different.
Well, it would be different. But what I'm saying is, so I finally decided, there came a point when I said, man, I got to make a choice here. I cannot, be irritated every time she has everything like perfectly done. And it was, okay, let's, we talked about this, I would do my own, but brought my gifts out. So we have different things that we do that brings our gifts out. Mm-hmm. So we do it a lot together, but we do separate things in common ground that brings our own gifts out too.
That's right. It takes a while. It takes a while to get a balance, an adjusting, in-course correction so that it finally works well.
And I think the best part, I was thinking about like everybody's friendships here that you have and that you want, that it seems like so hard, when people are saying, oh, I want to do this with a friend, but this friend doesn't respond the right way and everything. And I think I feel so blessed because our friendship's easy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't feel like, oh, I've got to call Judy now. I haven't seen her for a while, for lunch, we need to do that. And even if we wouldn't have to do that. Mm-mm. Do you think that?
No.
It's not like high maintenance and a chore, and, if it becomes like that, you don't want to do it anymore, And so I feel real blessed, that way.
That's right. We actually we have very independent lives. Common ground's our commonality really as far as what we do, but we are like so like-minded, and we understand the world in such a similar way that we're very allowing with each other. The word competition or jealousy just doesn't fit for us. Not even.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
It just is not there. It just doesn't work in our relationship. And we often counsel with people and who are struggling with friendships, with relationships, and that's one of the pieces that gets in the way. That gets in the way sometimes for people. So, I think we're blessed.
Yeah,
we're
I
very
do too.
blessed that we know our strengths, we know our weaknesses, I think we know where the other completes, and it just all works together.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of the matter is, we see spirit very differently, don't we?
We do? How do you see spirit? Well, that's an interesting question. How do you see spirit?
Well, I think that I don't need to know anything.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I don't need to know anything. I don't need to know how anything works.
Yeah.
I just don't need proof of anything because I just know. Does that make sense?
Well, we see it the same way. It's just that you're saying that I am more of a head. I love, like, we're getting these book studies and stuff, and I'm just going, all these studies are so interesting, and I'm fascinated by a lot of the head stuff. I love to read, and it's really knowledge, but I feel like, I know spirit's there too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's experiential, that we embody it.
But you like the cosmos and the this and the that.
I do. I know.
It's
I know.
true.
You like Project Runway.
I like Project Runway. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's okay. We do. That's the differences and the.
Yeah. But it all works, and that's what the Common Ground's about. Everybody gets to experience it their own way. No requirements. It's a good thing.
Okay, so how do we handle a difference of opinion? How would you handle a difference of opinion? Do we have differences of opinion? I guess we do, but not too often usually.
Well,
not big ones.
One thing I know is it never gets to the I'm right and you're wrong and it's got to be my way or the highway. We never get there.
Yeah.
We chat, we talk about it, we work it through. We
always say what's best for the whole. That's
it.
Like we have to let's get out of the way of what we want, and then let's look at what's the best for common ground.
Yeah.
And sometimes those are hard decisions. We had one recently that was very difficult, and we had to look at what was going on with us and what was going on with common ground, and made a choice. That was very difficult. So,
Yeah, that's, I think, part from a leadership perspective. That's part of what our strength. We're not afraid to make very difficult choices and take responsibility. I think we're both willing to take responsibility, not blame it on anybody else, each other, or anyone else. Just, nothing to defend. I was talking to someone this morning about a situation. I said, you know what? Come from love, come from compassion, and there is absolutely nothing to defend. That's it. And that's kind of how we approach our. And there's one other thing. We're one voice. Once we discuss it, and we come to an understanding between us, we're one voice. There's never, she thinks this and I think that, and take your pick, or I'm better than, my idea is better than hers. It's always one voice. There's never any splitting, and that's a trick.
Yeah.
Because that splitting stuff can really be a problem.
Yeah, I think the most important part in any friendship too, for really all of us, is that we're authentic, really honest, authentic people. That, if you're looking, and I'll tell you, so many people are looking for friendships. You've got to be vulnerable enough to be able to share from your heart with a safe person. When that person is safe, you can let it out, and the other person would share with you too. And that's when friendship begins. And then after that, it's, it grows. But you have to find a safe person that you can be authentic and loving with. That's one of the biggest things. We would have never shared, we would have never, ever been friends today if we wouldn't have been totally authentic and vulnerable by revealing a lot of stuff in our lives.
Well, and then the other piece of that is that which I know is what I really value in you is, if stuff comes up, you don't focus on the stuff and get in the pity pot with me. You listen and then it's the lifting. It's the lifting up. Okay, let's look at it this way. Well, let's move through this. Let's not stay stuck in this. Because sometimes in our relationships, we gravitate toward people that want to jump right in it with us and in a way pull us down. It's like you're drowning and you reach out for help and that person just goes down with you. And the kind of friendship that we're talking about for soul friendship is the kind of friendship that lifts and supports and elevates whatever is going on and helps see a new way.
Yeah.
It's not about that thing, whatever that thing is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, we don't join in on, the negativity if somebody's feeling really negative. So,
And I think we also don't try to fix anything.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, I do a little. I always want to fix you. No, I'm kidding. I don't. That's not true.
well, we
yeah.
can give suggestions, but it's not like we come up with, you've got to do it this way. It never, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're almost out. Anybody have one last question that we maybe didn't answer that anybody'd like to ask?
So
Go ahead.
how did you start Common Ground? You were living together and then...
Well, that's a whole nother Sunday.
Okay.
The quick answer to that is we didn't. Spirit did. It was pure guidance. We had no idea what we were going to do. We were standing at that house. Things were just a mess, and it was raining, and my husband was building a lanai on our home, and we didn't know what to do, and all of a sudden, Spirit just kind of said,
You don't need a lanai anymore. and a sanctuary was built. Actually, the dentist, her husband, actually built the sanctuary in the house. So we started, it was nice, a little in her living room, actually, or the lanai area. Had a few chairs there. We got a sound system and started talks to a few family members.
about 7 people.
Then some of the people from Unity came, and it started to grow, and it was pretty cool.
So, yeah, that sort of got off and running. So, yeah, thank you for asking. So, we're available. We're very open, transparent, authentic. If anybody ever wants to ask us anything, just ask. We'll probably
tell you.
tell you. We don't have very many secrets. We share openly from the platform because we think that our experiences in life help. We know that none of us are unique. We're all sharing some of the same crazy stuff in life, so it's all good. So thank you for listening.
Thank you.